All right, folks, we're ready with offensive coordinator Bush Hamdan, his first season at UK, and so we will go ahead and turn it loose and open up for questions.
Bush, what role do you envision for Gavin Lundsack? Do you see him as a Wildcat quarterback? Do you see he and Brock at the same time? And what do you envision? How do you envision using him?
We're only 2-3 practices in, so I would definitely agree with that. I think we're going to utilize him in a lot of those Wildcat type situations at the very least, but we know this, you guys know this about this conference. You have the opportunity to acquire talent, and you got to do that. He's a big, physical, talented player. I think when you guys get the opportunity to see him at practice, you'll see how dynamic of a player he is, and so a little bit of wait and see on how that role goes.
What are you emphasizing with Brock going into fall after the spring and the summer?
We've discussed it before. I think so much of it is a leadership part. You're a new guy coming into a new program, new offensive coordinator. So much is about scheme and the plays, but don't lose sight of what that looks like when you're in a locker room and building those relationships with the guys as the true signal caller. Certainly from a play style standpoint, it always comes down to accuracy, to decision-making, toughness, but we really don't want to lose sight of that leadership part.
Is he adjusting to your system pretty well?
Yeah, he's doing a great job. He really is. He's smart player, tough, can run, all those things. Again, I think we've had success with probably in the last 3 to 5 years. A guy like Brady Cook at Missouri, you see what his skill set looks like, what Talon Green did last year at Boise, Maddox Madsen. We think he's right in the mold of a guy we like for this system.
He knows how to win.
I hope so.
What's the biggest trait that you've liked from him so far at the quarterback position?
He's a consummate pro. I've said that multiple times. This is a big-time football league. We get done with practices at 6:30. He wants to be up in the facility. He's already watching games on opponents, all those types of things. We know at this position it comes down to kind of locking yourself in that room, if you will, taking aside what the naysayers have to say and just working and keep getting better every day, and I think he's a guy that understands that.
Bush, a lot of talk's been about establishing the run, getting more physical up front. Just what are your thoughts, like right now, going into this season, about the offensive line? It seems like y'all maybe have the most experienced line when you just talk about starts. How much can that help if you kind of accomplish that goal?
We've got good depth, and I think you mentioned it right there. It's certainly, there's the comfort feeling about, Eli Cox at center and what he can do and the amount of games he's played in. Certainly feel good about those guys. We've got a long way to go, as you know. Most coaches are going to say that just three practices in, but certainly needs to be a really solid group for us with the amount of starts those guys have made.
Liam Cohen brought an NFL schematic last year, and it started to challenge Devin Leary's ability to get plays off. Is it your expectation that using that new helmet comm system is going to make your ability to do complex plays with your quarterback easier?
I think so. I think the starting point is still trying to keep it as simple as possible for guys to go play fast. I think the even more critical thing, though, is the challenge on me of what information to give them. As you guys know, we're all maybe parents. Sometimes our kids don't want to hear a lot, but they just got to hear enough. And I think of that, when we get that play call in, how can we be clear, concise, repetitive, and give him just the things he needs to be successful for that play?
Mark Stoops this past year where Barryon was
just kind of begging to hit on one of those deep balls, and he obviously has that ability to get open down the field, but he was just begging. I mean, he was open on a lot of those. Do you see that? Being obviously not going to hit home run balls every play, but is there the opportunity to hit on some of those, and do you see him kind of taking that jump?
Everything we have to do is to throw the ball downfield and get him those opportunities. So in this system, we want to run the football, but the number one, first and foremost thing is creating explosive plays. And we are going to look to do that early. We're going to look to do that often with him and some of these other guys in this room that can do it, because as you know, when you have a premier player like him, defenses are going to lean to his side at times and create a lot of one-on-one opportunities for about 5 or 6 other guys that we feel can all contribute and make plays. We're excited about the potential for throwing him the ball down the field, but also getting him the ball in space and what he can do as a ball carrier.
Coach, you guys have a lot of folks in that wide receiver room, but Barryon and Dane have been here for 3 years, 3 offensive coordinators, 3 quarterbacks. How do you feel like some of those guys that have been in that room for a while are adjusting to your system, this quarterback, because they've been through so much turnover?
They've got a level of experience. Again, they've played for some great coaches, some great systems. So a lot of it just comes down to, we used to call this scheme, and now we're calling it that scheme. What guys like that never lose, though, is the technique and the fundamentals and the experience. That always stays with you, even with a change in the coordinator. So excited about those guys. There's a level of maturity, again, in this league, right? From one week to the next of just staying the course. We're going to rely on their experience in that position. Certainly with some of these younger guys that are extremely talented, who we think we can get going.
Mark just spoke a little bit.
About the tempo and finding a balance between what that looks like. To you, what does that look
We are
like?
going to run 100 plays a game and be the fastest offense in the country. So, oh man, I think I lose sleep over the tempo question, and you guys coming here and asking me. I think the biggest thing this is with tempo in our systems that we've had. Again, if you go back to the tape, right? I think about last year at Memphis, we get down. We've got the ability, I think we put 17 points up in like 7 minutes because we have the ability to play extremely fast. We always want to be somewhere in the middle. And what that means is have the flexibility, depending on how the game's going, to do whatever it takes to win the football game. And I think that's important for us all to know. For me, the checklist in fall camp is we got periods where we are playing as fast as anybody in the country. One-word plays, getting up there, snapping the ball within 7 seconds. We also have that focus where we can huddle, operate, execute, take time off the clock. So I know everybody wants to play fast. It always comes back down to execution with us. And I think the thing I want you guys to know is we are going to have the ability to play fast and keep people on their feet.
Bush, Stoops mentioned you guys didn't really have to add anything to that tight end room. There's a lot of experience and a lot of depth in that room. What do you expect to see from them this year, and how are you kind of trying to use them this year?
Okay, that's the second question I'm losing sleep over, right, is are we getting the tight ends the ball? So, again, it's a solid group from top to bottom, right? When we think about the 3 guys between Dingle, Caddis, Kamari, the talent level with Kamari is an intriguing young player for us as well. Any types of systems like this, we want to establish the run and create explosives down the field. No better player to create explosives with than the tight end, because obviously defenses think they're in all the run schemes. So it's going to be a balance, certainly with each player, of asking him to be a physical blocker down the field and create explosives. We think those guys will be an intricate part of our passing game.
Getting to work with Jamori Macklin again, what have you seen from him from the last time you saw him, and could he maybe be a guy that could be like that explosive playmaker for y'all?
He's in that category of Dane and Barryon, from a guy who's been through a lot. You know, that's a 21-year-old college football player that has seen it at different levels, played a lot of football. We have been extremely impressed with his route running ability, his ability to make guys miss. He's a guy that's just, chipping away at it, but he's certainly the next guy we're looking to get the ball to.
Coach, you like it here in Lexington?
Love it. Love it. It's been great. I mean this. I said this earlier. There's great people in this city, and I think you guys know that, and how they've welcomed me. It's been a great place for my wife, my kids, and the culture here is just different. It's special. It really is. Again, I haven't been anywhere where you got a head coach that's been in place for 12 years, and then you look at the staff, right? This has got to be one of the longest tenured staffs in America, and that just speaks to what Coach has done. They know exactly what he wants. They know exactly how it needs to be done, what the standard is. And because of that, it's a culture where the players are excited to be here every day. He understands we got to get them ready, but that doesn't mean we got to burn them out and wear them out on day one. And I just think the mixture of all those things, how tremendous the people of the city have been, the culture Coach has here, the understanding that he has, nothing comes to his desk that he's surprised by with the experience he has made this an unbelievable fit for me and my family.
Thanks, everyone.
You were getting
Last
to know
one.
your personnel when you got here.
after, having gone through spring and learning more about them, is there anything that maybe you've tweaked or adjusted?
I'm sorry, say it one more time on the front end.
You were getting to know your personnel.
Yeah.
When you got here, and having gone through spring, getting to know them a little better, and seeing what you've got, have you kind of adjusted or tweaked anything that maybe you thought about them coming into the job?
Yeah, I think so. You're always doing that. I think the biggest thing is just the challenge of you have your position room battles, and players think, okay, here I am, I'm second on the depth chart at receiver, I'm third at the depth chart at receiver. The biggest thing that I'm just echoing to them is we have battles from group to group. And what I mean by that is, there's times you're making the decision, do we play with 13 personnel, 3 tight ends in the game? There's groups we like 12 personnel, we like 11 personnel. Right now, we feel like we could go out there with 4 wide receivers and do some different things. So I think that's the biggest thing, not necessarily schematically the change in plays, but who's going to be doing those plays. And that's what we've been stressing to the players all along is we got to find those guys that have the ability to do a lot of different things. And if they can do a lot of different things well, they're going to be on the field.
Okay, folks, thank you very much.
All right.
Coach White and Overshadowed.
Appreciate you guys.
7th season on UK staff and 6th as the defensive coordinator. And we will turn it loose to Coach White. Questions for Coach?
Brad, what are some things that you were not happy about last year that you really want to focus on with your guys this year?
Yeah, when you look back and you self-scout yourself and you look what you need to do better, obviously third down defense, and there were some specifically towards the back end of the season, 3rd and long situations, especially extra long, was an area that historically, if you look, we've been really good. And we were not anywhere close to the standard that we need to be at. And it cost us, and when you give up third downs, you extend drives, and extended drives leads to points. It leads to less opportunities for the offense. So obviously that's going to be a primary focus again. The year before in 22 was sort of our best year ever in third down defense, and there's a correlation to how well we played as a defense. So we need to get back there.
Nose tackle. There's some cross-training going on now that Josiah's out for the year. How do you feel about that group collectively that they'll be able to replace that loss?
Yeah, no, you know what? Obviously, when you lose a player, some other guys have to step up. That's the reality of sport. That's the reality, and we've dealt with it every year here at some position or another. I feel really good. If it was going to happen at a position, that's probably the one to happen at, because I think the experience that we have up there, defensive line wise, the quality of players that we have allows us to overcome that. And we've got a bunch of guys that can play multiple spots across the front. And I think that's going to be good for us too, defensively, in terms of being able to be multiple. So, like anything else, do you want it to happen? No. But is there a silver lining in there as well? I believe so.
Coach, you guys lost some guys in that linebacker room, but gained some pretty good ones as well. Can you talk about the leadership that Pop's bringing with his experience and just the linebacker room in general?
Yeah, when you talk about the linebacker room and you talk about experience and leadership, I think you've got to, specifically if you're talking inside linebacker, the first person you go to is De'Eric. And as long as De'Eric's been here and he understands our system, and he's been really good for Pop, in terms of being able to, essentially translate our defense, help him grow within. Because every time you change, systems, like you have to get adjusted, and what you don't want, is a really good player that is playing slow because he's thinking. We've got to get to the point where all the guys on defense that are playing, they sort of do it unconsciously, so they can play fast and they can just play ball like they know how. So, to have De'Eric there, obviously Pop's shown what he can do in this league and in college football in general. So excited to see that. Excited to see a guy like David Rayner continue his progression. I thought he got better each and every game throughout the year. and was playing at a really good level for us last year. I think he's got more command of the system this year. You've got a guy like Alex Safari that can play inside now as well and outside. So, he knows how to play sort of in that field apex, but he also has a lot of skill set that fits that inside backer position. So I feel good about that room. I feel good that we've got, solid old guys with a lot of reps in college football. And then you've got some young talent that, the future's bright in that room that are going to be able to learn from those guys, fast, long, athletic guys. And so, which will also help on special teams.
Brad, what did you all like about Christian's story, and what are your expectations for him?
Yeah, well, I mean, what do we like about Christian? You've got a guy that's long, he's athletic, he knows how to play the safety position, he's played it in the SEC. Obviously, playing in a system like Alabama, that he knows how to adjust to a lot of different coverages, checks, run fits. So that's not going to be something that was going to overwhelm him, and it hasn't. So he's been able to, and personality-wise, he's come in and he fits with that room. Again, you talk about the inside backers on the previous question. The safeties is another group that you just feel really good about, in terms of having, Zion Childress, Jordan Lovett, Ty Bryant, Christian Story. Like, you got 4 guys that are SEC safeties. They've played and been really successful in SEC games. So again, it gives you the opportunity to be multiple, in what you do. And it also allows you to absorb, when an injury occurs within a game, or maybe it's a multiple game deal, you've got the ability to absorb that. Depth is always important, and to be able to have the ability within a game to keep guys fresh so that you don't wear out through a game, it's a huge advantage for us.
Coach, Ty Bryant from Frederick Douglass High School, how's his progression?
Really good. Yeah, I mean, and when we saw it last year, I'll readily admit, I thought Ty played at a level that I didn't anticipate Ty playing as a true freshman. We knew he was a mature young man. We knew he was conscientious. We knew his work ethic, all the things that we loved about him. But to be able to step up in the moments that he stepped up in was huge. And it's a testament to him. It's a testament to his work ethic. He's taken another step, this spring. I think there's a confidence and command in his game. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's still really fast. So a guy that we're really, really excited about.
Brad, Mark mentioned playing more sticky coverage, cornerback. Just how do you feel about that group entering the season with obviously Max leading the way?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, obviously, there are things that we have to do to continue to improve on defense, continue to adapt, sort of in the changing environment, and, being able to play some man-to-man, be able to get sticky, on those outside edges. Obviously, I think Max has he's had a really good offseason, put himself in good position, and I think we've got good competition opposite. But it's early in camp right now, obviously, so a lot to be seen. What I'm looking for is guys to be consistent. The nice thing is we have a lot of bodies that don't have to take all of the workload. We can distribute it across, with guys like Jansen Dunn and J.Q. Hardaway and Nasir Addison and DJ Waller. Like, you just think, and then you throw in true freshmen in there that have done really some good things throughout summer and the first 2 days of practice. So it's going to be a really, really good competitive room, and really excited to kind of see how it all shakes out, because that's the one position I don't know.
There were times last year the secondary was doing their job, right, but the front not getting enough pressure on the quarterback. The sacks numbers were low at times. So with the unit, that's going to be probably as good as anyone in the SEC in pass coverage. How important is it knowing if you get more pressure on the quarterback, it could certainly bring your defense to another level?
Yeah, we talk about it since I've been here. They all tie together, right? And it's fine. there were times last year that we would get sort of plenty of pressure. We would miss a sack. The South Carolina game jumps to mind, and we had 2 opportunities on the very first drive to get off the field on 3rd down. One, we lost leverage in coverage, something that we shouldn't have done. It should have been off the field. We were walking into a sack. And then 2, we had a missed sack, which then led to a big 3rd down conversion. So there were breakdowns on all sides last year at times, and that's why it's so important that they work together. Obviously, really excited about the front that we returned because, like anything else, I think interceptions, turnovers, sacks, a lot of times they come in bunches. It's just not always super consistent. But from a purely statistics, and that is what it is, like this was the defensive line and what they did last year was the 2nd most sacks since I've been here, only behind the Josh Allen year, and it was the most tackles for loss that we had since I've been here. So like they were disruptive up front. Obviously, when we return all those guys this year, you need to keep that production going up front, and then you mix in, being able to play sticky, stickier in coverage at times, being able to make some plays on the back end, and then when you have a chance to be at the quarterback, you've got to be able to finish.
You've got 2 kids in there, Silver and Walker, can play, can't they?
Yeah, we've got Silver, we've got Walker, we've got Oxendine, we've got Ripka. Like I think everybody in this room understands the impact that Dion has on a football game. I think people don't necessarily realize how well guys like Keyshawn Silver, how well Trey Ripka played last year, how well Ox played the jump from 2 years ago for Ox to last year. And then this year his weight's back up to where it was when he was, before the injury, and as powerful as ever. You have Khalil Saunders who makes plays, big plays for us, and he's big and athletic. And I mean, this is as good of a cumulative front, as we've had. And then you throw in young guys, and you throw in a guy like, Gerard Smith in there, and Kendrick Gilbert coming back off of injury, from last year where he was sort of, 1, he was a freshman, 2, coming off a shoulder. He's stronger. He's already, made some flashes in some of these early practices. So you've got depth there. You can roll those guys. You can keep them fresh. So, yeah, that's exciting. And then obviously, the position we haven't talked about is that, that outside linebacker position. And, to be able to return JJ, who, there are times that he can just dominate a game and he can take over. He understands that this is the year that he needs to do that consistently. It can't just be 1 or 2 games. We need that consistent force presence from him, and then we'll see, who can rush opposite him.
Hey, folks, we've got to cut it off, get to our next part.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.